Hey, thanks for tuning in to Planned Brotherhood. In honor of our 30th episode, we're joined by our Uncle Tracy to further explore the depths of our fucked up family. If it seems like we're talking over each other a lot, we are. Sorry, it's been a long time since we'd seen him, and we're very excitable. Enjoy.
That's the thing about David Lynch, though. At least he has stayed true to his style from the beginning.
I can only imagine that's true, because as far back as I go, he's always been that way.
And he's so non-Hollywood. He's lucky he even got away with Twin Peaks for 2 seasons.
Oh, God. Don't I know it. Watching it back now on DVD, especially, not being 10 years old.
And not only that, but he could have got away with just the first season.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We may have been better off. I don't know. I haven't finished the second season as an adult yet. I'm only like halfway through right now.
Right.
But I can see it going a bad way. Like maybe they should have ended it
was one
with
of the
a lot of
first
questions.
linear series ever, that carried a story from beginning to end.
A serial
throughout a whole
story, yeah.
season.
And now you see it constantly.
Oh, yeah. But
I mean,
it
a
was
lot of
one
people have
the
tried,
first.
but Lost is... The Nine.
Never
Good pull.
heard of it.
Oh, God. Of course you haven't. It was a terrible show.
Nine people pulled together by a bank robbery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that
You remember
failed
that one.
fast.
Tim
That
Daly
came
of
and went-
Wings fame, I think.
Yeah, that came and went really
Oh yeah,
fast.
he was in that too.
Yeah, and he was in Eyes, that
And
other
The
show.
Fugitive.
And that's the thing
And The
I
Fugitive.
hate.
God, he has so many struggling shows.
I hate it when somebody comes up with a really great idea
And
then all
fucks
the
it up.
copycats come out.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the copycats. You guys
With
have
Lost,
dogged-
the first
you
of
guys,
this...
You guys actually dogged this before, but Napoleon Dynamite was a good movie. Is a good movie.
Disagree.
And I am happy.
I disagree.
But I'm happy with the fact that nobody has tried to.
I think Juno was a little
Emulate that.
Napoleon Dynamite, right down to that character who was directly mimicking Napoleon Dynamite.
I haven't seen Juno, so I couldn't tell.
Wait. What are you talking about directly
in,
mimicking?
in their science class, there's a character. He's got his hair brushed down, not like Napoleon Dynamite, but like present day John Heater.
Uh-huh.
And
Which is Napoleon Dynamite, as I recall.
No, he's got the brush down
Napoleon
in his
Dynamite
face
was
look.
John Hader. No, John Hader was Napoleon, something like that.
Somewhere in there. I think Joss Whedon had something to do with it.
Really?
No, what's the name of that director?
The director of Blades of Glory? It was Joss Whedon.
Oh, okay. Never mind. But
I confused my facts. I'm sorry.
This kid in Juno, he had total lines. Like the girlfriend was complaining about him. He's like, "God, just shut up."
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Okay,
It was like a one-off scene,
That was
right?
a character rip, but it wasn't a whole genre rip.
Right.
So.
Wow.
But pretty much.
of.
Juno tried to have a little more heart. I've got a lot of problems with Juno. We probably
I
talked
have
about
a
it
lot of
before.
problems with movies with heart.
Waitress.
Good call.
Waitress is one of those painful movies to watch that everyone likes.
Well, her
See,
heart was
Waiting's
severed from the
better.
body at the end, right?
Right. Rest in peace.
Waiting is much better, and it's way
No,
better
no,
if you've worked
Waiting.
in a restaurant.
Waitress.
No, I know, but Waiting was better.
Oh, waiting was great to
As
watch.
far as movies with weight in the title.
No, Nick, I don't want to play the game. Thank you very much. Put it back.
No Batwings today.
Can I ask you about how you feel about Waiting to Exhale as a movie?
You can. I never saw it.
Neither did I, but
Just-
I'm pretty sure it's shit.
Black people movie?
Same color.
Yeah. Who's seen How Stell got her group back? Show of hands. Really, nobody. You know why? Because we're white.
Who read the book? Not me.
Was it a book?
At first.
Oh, God. That makes it so much sadder.
And why are they divorced now? Do we know why?
Are we still talking about Stella?
Well, How
Stella
Stella Got a Groove Back was based on a true story.
Do you mean Ike and Tina Turner?
No, How Stella Got Her
Because
Groove
of what's
Back
got to do with it?
is based on a true story, and they ended up getting divorced because it turned out he's gay.
The Taye Diggs character is gay?
Yeah, he's gay.
Taye Diggs is probably
Yeah.
gay, too.
I think so,
Hey,
too.
Hey, if I was gay, I'd go for Taye Diggs. He's hot.
Can we go back to Waiting for a second? Because I used to
Only
really...
if then we can go back to Taye Diggs and that sitcom, or not sitcom, I'm sorry, but that show that he tried 2 years ago.
Which one?
The ripoff
Daybreak.
of Quantum Leak.
Daybreak, yeah,
Leak.
where he
Oh,
goes back.
God.
Or Quantum Leak, also a good
No,
show.
it was
Quantum
like
Leak was good for
Groundhog
2
Day.
seasons.
Like Groundhog Day. He had to relive the same day where his wife
Oh,
died
that's what it
over and
was.
over
That's
again.
right. That's right.
Yeah, it failed.
The only time that ever worked was that one episode of X-Files.
Early edition.
They did that with a bank robbery.
See, I'm not that familiar with the
I
X-Files.
love the X-Files. I got the whole box set of those.
Do you love it
shows.
now?
Still. Yeah,
How
still
long
a
has it
good
been
show.
since you watched an episode?
I
And
had-
did you see the most recent movie?
I had a marathon last winter where I watched all 9 seasons in a row.
Oh, did you? Four
Yeah.
Eyes?
Let's see, there's an old saying. How's it? Yeah.
Tracy
Fuck
wears
off.
glasses for those that don't know. This isn't a video podcast, but Tracy did just flip off PJ, and I think you meant it. Is that true?
And no, I haven't seen the new movie. I'll wait till it's on Netflix.
I want to believe that it's a good movie?
Oh,
See what I did there?
I almost loaded it on the iPod today for the bus ride over here.
Really? But
Couldn't
then
do it.
common sense crept in, huh?
Oh,
At
No,
one
mo-
point Netflix the first season, like the first disc of it, and just my wife never wanted to watch it, so I never got around to it.
Well, you watch things without your wife, though, I would imagine.
Yeah,
yeah,
occasionally.
but porn
but-
don't count.
Although the last 2 times
Yeah,
I've been there, I got to
exactly.
admit, it's been How I Met Your Mother
Yeah.
and Nanny 911.
Never.
That last one
Yeah,
might be
but-
a fabrication.
Never, never, never. Say hello to the cast of How I Met Your Mother for me.
You know, that is a good impersonation, by the way.
Yeah,
So, you know.
he is really great.
We're talking about Andy
You're-
Samberg
you're-
as Mark Wahlberg, correct?
Did
Yeah,
you
but
see the?
You do good Adam Sandberg doing Donnie
Oh,
Wahlberg.
yeah.
Oh, have you
How
seen...
about Neil Patrick Harris
Oh,
as an
have you
actor?
have you seen Dr. Horrible sing along?
Yeah.
No, it's
I've
on
got
my
it.
Netflix queue
It's
now.
on my iPod.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Oh,
right?
It's fucking.
It's worth
brilliant.
watching because I've
It's
never
so
bought into
good.
the Whedoniverse or whatever they call
No,
it.
it's
Joss,
it's
I
really-
never watched Buffy.
It is
so
on DVD now.
yeah,
Because I heard
it's
they
a.
have like background shit on it too.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's on
it's
DVD.
it's towards the top of my Netflix queue now,
It's
just because I read
really-
something about it.
It's
But,
really good. You know,
and pretty short, right? I like short.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. It's like 3 15-minute episodes.
Because
or
it
something.
started as like a webisode type thing, right?
It's really good. It's got.
During the writer's strike is
Yeah,
when
it
they
was,
came up with
yeah,
it
that.
was
Yeah.
three. It was 3 shows, 3 internet shows that were free at the time during the
I got
writers'
'em free.
strike. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
them.
paying $19.99 in
Are
Netflix.
you a fan
I'm
of
getting fucked.
Firefly or Serenity
Yeah,
or
I've got
anything
it.
Nathan
yeah,
Fillion?
Yeah,
I
I've
thought
got
Nathan
yeah.
Fillion. This is the only thing I've seen him in other than Waitress, which I hated.
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
I thought he was awful in Dr. Horrible Sing Along blog. It kind
but-
of ruined it for me.
They may have been better off if they had like Patrick Warburton.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
something
you
like
can't buy him as that kind
he
of
was
a
trying to be
superhero.
funny, and it was just ridiculous.
No, but he got it because he was friends with Joss
Right.
and blah 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 blah.
Right,
But I
and
think
Firefly is a huge show amongst people I don't like that much. Honestly,
well,
I
and-
don't get the people. My roommate, for one, and nothing against my roommate. Thank you for letting me live there for almost 2 years.
Person who doesn't listen.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. She's a MySpace friend, though. But she's super into Firefly. And I remember when I first moved in, she's like, you got to watch this. You got to sit down and watch this with me. And that's when I realized, I'm not really into sitting down and watching anything with people I don't know that well. But especially that because she's so into it and she's got posters and stuff. And we know other people, Movie Guy Matt, for one, movieguyspodcast.com.
But it's
The-
got
I only plugged them because I didn't mean
it's
it.
got Eliza Dushku in it, right?
No.
Isn't that the
Not Firefly.
Isn't that the
Firefly
That'll-
has Nathan
that'll-
Fillion and nobody else that
No,
I've ever
yeah,
heard of.
no,
Oh,
who's
Alan Tudyk.
that's right,
no,
that guy.
the young chick with the mental issues.
Yeah, I know who she is,
Isn't
but
that
she's
Dushku?
not whoever
Oh,
you just
okay.
said she
Okay,
was.
fine, whatever.
Yeah.
No,
But she's
actually,
hot.
I do know who that is. She's on the Terminator, the Sarah.
Oh, that's her,
Chronicles.
yeah.
Oh yeah, her. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
she's
what's
hot.
her name?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
I've
she's
got
not-
IMDb
she's
on
one of
speed
those
dial.
Where I can't decide if she's ass ugly or hot.
She's different. That's
no,
why
yeah,
I
I
like
can't
her.
remember her name.
That
Eliza
does crop up
Dushku-
now and again. Is she really, really gross or hot in a weird way
Yeah.
that
Hot
I
in
don't
a
quite
weird way.
understand
Hot in a
yet?
weird way because she doesn't look like.
You're
a
always
bim-
going to go for that
She
because
doesn't
if you
look
bang
like
an
a
ugly
bimbo.
chick, you want to rationalize
Right,
with
but she
yourself.
doesn't look like one of those Hollywood bimbos.
Right,
She's
but
different looking. That's why they picked her.
I
to
like-
be in
I like
that.
True,
those.
true.
there's nothing wrong with Hollywood bimbos.
Oh.
I guess I like the occasional unique girl, but sometimes what's that girl's name?
Would you call Zoe Deschanel unique?
Is it
Yeah,
Deschanel
but
or
beautiful.
Deschanel?
I don't know.
I say
Okay.
Deschanel.
I'd have to hear a commentary
I
where
I live
she's
in
saying her own
America.
name.
Okay.
I say
Yeah,
Deschanel.
Emphasis on whatever's boring.
Yeah, to
Bitch.
Death Cab for Cutie guy.
Oh, at least there's that.
Ben Gibbard.
Local band.
Really? At least there's that?
Hey, Death
Really?
Cab
Is it
for-
local?
Yeah, they're
Maybe you
Seattle.
Oh, yeah,
can,
he's
they're
local.
a Seattle band and they're good. I got their shit. I got
Maybe you
their
can
CDs.
stalk and rape her next time you see
You know
her
what,
in the
guys?
neighborhood.
It's one of those things where they were good before they were popular. Then I heard them on the radio, and I just was not into it anymore.
It's just that every time I like a band or a movie, like Napoleon Dynamite, it just gets really huge all of a sudden. It kind of ruins it for me.
Yeah, that was a Sundance hit before it was anything else, guys. Let's recall.
It's like liking a song before the radio does.
You guys like Heath Ledger's performance because he died, but I really
No.
loved it.
Oh, by the way, I have to say, maybe I'm a dissenter, okay? But Batman, the new one, was a good movie.
that would be The
okay?
Dark Knight,
The
TDK.
the Dark Knight, okay, whatever. I almost said Begins. But I do still think Batman Begins was better.
Really?
I think the only reason
I think
Dark
you're the
Knight-
only person to argue that, and I think you're the only person that's
I
wrong in
think
the world.
Tracy's about to say the one thing I've been waiting for everybody to say.
What?
The only reason Dark Knight got all the hype it did is because Heath Ledger
Exactly.
died.
I was-
disagree.
I know he was great in the role, but I would love to see how that movie did and how his performance would have been taken.
Had he not died.
So
I
the
agree.
argument, what is it now? Like the second or third most successful movie of all time already?
I think it's number 2.
But-
Just having hit
Right?
DVD
It's right
under
behind
Titanic.
yeah.
If Heath Ledger hadn't died, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't have gotten.
I don't know that that's true.
Come on.
See, it's tough.
How many
I'd
women?
have to- I'd
how
have
many
to know.
women would have been swooning, going, "Oh, what a great performance it was."
Yeah, you know, because
Oh, whatever. People were swooning for him since 10 Things I Hate
But
About
not
You.
many
It's a
guys-
fucking shitty
including
movie.
you when he did Brokeback Mountain.
Oh God,
But-
did I love it, Tracy? Did I love it?
But not many guys would have been so impressed by his
I'm
performance.
sorry
You
to
wouldn't
stop
hear
the
too
show,
many
but can you guys see my erection since Tracy brought it up?
I hear nobody can. But, you know, that's
when I told a guy at work that Heath Ledger was going to play him, play the Joker, oh, that Brokeback fag, and I was like, no, I think he's going to do good, blah, blah, blah.
But you're in Yakima. Everybody's a fucking homophobe
Same
anyway.
guy after he's dead went and saw it 50 times, and he's that guy, you know, that says, fuck it, man, they should have called it the Joker. That's what it should have been
Oh,
called.
God,
Bullshit.
they should not have
No.
called it the Joker, and I'm
They,
glad they didn't.
should give Heath Ledger Best Picture, Best Director.
And you know
So
what?
apparently he doesn't know how the Oscars work. If he's hoping for
Personally-
Heath
Exactly.
Ledger as Best Picture.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Aaron Eckhart is a better actor. You
In the
know,
movie
and-
or overall?
I didn't
Overall.
love Aaron
Overall.
Eckhart. I didn't love Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. That was one of my problems with the movie.
I
It's kind
agree.
of throwaway. He's
Well,
a
I
good
think
actor.
they sped up the Two-Face plot too much at the end.
Yeah.
Like, they should have just saved it.
I think it was like with
What's
Spider-
Aaron Eckhart doing that
it
he
was
can't
like
do
with
Batman 3?
It was like with Spider-Man 3 when they had to throw in something extra.
I never
and was
saw
like-
that, but only because I heard how terrible and emo it apparently is.
Right, but they sometimes they try to cram in too much.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I liked. Granted, I like origin stories.
Are you saying there were too many villains? Because I think that was one
I
complaint
think
about
it
the
was
movie.
too many storylines.
Too many storylines.
Yeah, granted, it all tied together, but you know, if they were going to do Two-Face, they shouldn't have killed him at the end because then it became a redemption story.
Right.
You know, and it didn't need to be that. If they want to do sequels,
Although once they eventually got to the point in The Dark Knight, like, hey, I'm on the run, and that's at least where the third movie is gonna start. I find that interesting. I just
Yeah.
thought it was too much bullshit in the meantime.
and all I know
Once
is
Joker was not in the movie anymore, and I hate to be a Heath Ledger lover, PJ. I know you hate it.
I love him.
see,
I think he does deserve the best supporting of the movies I've seen.
But would he have been nominated for it? That's all I want to know. Would he have been
No.
nominated
I
for
I
it?
honestly
I-
feel he would
I
have
don't think
been.
so. I don't think so.
Especially based, he got critical acclaim before he died with Brokeback Mountain. That in enough is credential.
Right, but
That
I
in
don't, I
itself
don't think
is
the movie
credential.
would have done so well had he
Without-
not died because of those same assholes in Yakima that were just so turned off by him.
exactly because
And not
think
just
of-
in Yakima. They're everywhere.
and I'm sorry.
Homophobes are
They're
worldwide.
everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, faggots.
Heath Ledger died. Bad thing, but you know the marketing.
Bad thing that was his own
But you
fault.
know the marketing division at Warner Brothers was going, oh sweet,
Yeah.
free.
Really? 'Cause I
Yeah,
remember
it
reading-
it was spun that they were in some sort of panic, but come
Oh,
on, of
bullshit.
course
They were like,
knew.
oh
I don't
my
know. I
God,
kind of
free
bought into that
advertisement.
spin, I guess.
I-
Because I was following the
I'm
movie.
thinking maybe inside job, and that we should ask Randy about it.
Yeah,
I think
And-
some
and it-
Jew
Randy
out there
from
killed
PV
you.
bonus episode
and
number
this
one.
will sound like real heresy, but I kind of hope the third movie bombs because I want to see Christian Bale going back to American Psycho, The Machinist,
Never.
Equilibrium.
Now he's a
movies like
franchise
that.
king. I mean, between this and Terminator.
He might.
Yeah,
he might
John
I
Connor
think he'll
and Bruce
still
Wayne.
throw some in.
Because I mean,
You know what I mean? He'll still throw
He
in
did the
those
Prestige
indie
between
movies.
the two Batman
yeah,
movies.
sure.
Yeah, and that was a great movie.
yeah, but
A
I mean,
good character
the
piece.
guy's an actor. He's not a performer. There's
Yeah,
a
he's
difference.
great.
And I mean, to go to the extreme he did for The Machinist.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no one's done that since Brando and fucking De Niro. You know,
What,
no one.
losing the weight?
Yeah, no, that's getting fat. That's a little easier.
Yeah, but I mean,
Good point.
but to go to the extreme he did to
Tom
that
Hanks in
performance he did.
Castaway, he lost a
Yeah,
ton
but-
of weight.
He lost
Yeah,
a ton
but
of
not,
weight. Yeah,
not
he
the
did.
way he did. I
Right,
mean,
right.
Only when it
Obviously,
came close to
Christian
him was
Bale.
Donnie Wahlberg in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
but in that
And
for
he
a
was
bit
just
role,
glad for the
you know?
role.
Heck yeah. But,
I
you
thought
know,
Danny Pintaro looked especially skinny in Cujo. Remember?
I'm sorry, Danny Pintaro from Who's the Boss Man?
Yeah, and from Cujo.
Yeah, he
Remember
looked a
he
little
was all
malnourished.
frail in the
yeah,
car?
he played the
yeah.
dog, right?
And now
No,
he
that-
plays a
that
gay
was-
guy that works at the Gap.
That was Judith Light. Hey yo. Is that even her name?
Oh,
You know what I
God.
love
I get
on
her and
a
Maggie Seaver confused all the time.
summer afternoon, sitting there next to the pool, got my ice cubes ready, Pour a little bit of Judith Light on there. Have an afternoon.
You can make a good mojito with it.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of a good "Who's the Boss" joke, and I couldn't think of one.
Angela.
Angela. Boner.
We need to bring our friend Jeff here, twitter.com/fed, because he does a mean Tony Danza.
We could just do the drop-ins. Boner.
I fucking love that. That was the
Oh, wait,
hardest I probably
you
ever
know what?
had.
Well, Danny
I
Pintaro,
wonder-
you know what he's saying. He's walking around looking for a boner.
Oh, just the joke I was thinking of, but with Alyssa Milano when she got a little older there. Embrace of the Vampire.
I
Have you
just
seen
caught
it?
that on TV the other day. Underwhelming, that topless scene. With
Really?
the
Because
shit
you
they
saw,
have now.
what'd you see it on broadcast TV?
Good question.
I saw it on.
Well, you
Oh,
got to
well,
get the
of course.
DVD.
Oh, okay.
You need the nudity,
did
my
they
friend.
did the
It
lesbo
was nudity.
scenes?
Oh, but it was
I-
on broadcast?
I saw her topless on it.
But there's
She's, like,
way
sitting
there's
against the
way
door.
puffy nipples. Don't like puffy nipples, but hey, that's a different thing.
I'm not a big puffy nipple fan
But
either.
But I'd like to see her naked,
Oh.
like in a with a modern video camera.
We'll get the
you know?
DVD.
Let's get a sex tape.
Well,
Wasn't she part of
oh,
the Poison
Let's get
Ivy
rid of that
franchise
early
as well?
'90s.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Was
Poison
she?
Ivy
I don't
too.
remember.
Poison Ivy 2.
the new
Drew Barrymore is
seduction.
the original, correct?
It
Does she
goes-
get nude?
it
Drew
goes
Barrymore is hot.
Drew Barrymore.
She is not.
She is too.
Do you wanna
She's
know?
got different
Turns
look.
me off in a
Do you wanna
moment.
know?
I don't want to know.
Drew
Tracy, what
Barrymore.
did there's too much going
Drew
on.
Barrymore nude in Poison Ivy. I believe. I might be thinking of a movie called Doppelganger.
Or Firestarter.
Alyssa
She was only
Milano.
7 and she
Alyssa
had a nice
Milano
rack.
in the second one, I believe, had a body double. Jamie
Probably.
Presley in the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth ones.
Oh, that was her?
That's all
Jamie
her,
Presley?
baby.
Oh,
That's
man.
all nudity all the time.
Is it full body or just the boobs?
Just the boobs, but it was.
But it was nice. Boobs.
They made the last one during My Name Was Earl's hiatus, so she was pregnant.
Oh,
during
that's
it.
her, right?
It's real hot. Yeah.
That's right. She's a cast member on that show.
See, I
I
like.
was thinking of Jamie
See,
Kennedy,
she's
oddly.
she's pregnant in the new Poison Ivy movie.
See, I like Drew because I don't like I don't like blondes, but I like her. So
Drew Barrymore.
yeah.
I remember.
I like a good blonde. I've
I'm
never
not
had
into
sex with a
blondes.
blonde in my life. But I think I would like to at one point, just because she's probably a slut, right?
Well,
If we go back to the old
to be
jokes.
honest, my sister Rhonda is a blonde,
And very
and
much a slut.
and I would
or-
feel like I would be banging my sister Rhonda if I was banging a blonde.
Be-
You know, and
it translates to all blondes.
for me, yeah. There's, and besides, I'm a redhead freak.
I'd like to think if
So-
I were fucking a blonde, especially from behind, I'd be able to imagine that she's not my Aunt Rhonda.
No, and to be honest, there's always been this persona about blondes that I've never bought into.
But if anybody's a good example, it's our Aunt Rhonda and your sister Rhonda. I just want to tell you one story really quick. When Grandma, your mom, was running the daycare that my brother and I attended as tots, I remember us being about 11, 12 years old, I probably was, and Rhonda was still living at that house that the daycare took place in, and she would do her thing where she would go out on the roof, which you could do,
And tan.
and she would sit there in her two-piece and fucking taunt all the boys. And of course, she's our aunt, so me and Peter are grossed out by everything everybody is saying.
Yeah.
But like all the kids that are just discovering puberty
Oh,
within the daycare,
God.
they're looking at her and they're fucking basically jerking off in her face.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
They're like climbing up that metal pole we had.
Was this was this before or after she had her baby, Ashley?
I don't know. Some people are turned on by the pregnant belly.
This
I'm not alone in that, right?
This was definitely post Ashley.
Because she lived there after there, you know. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but she would. And I remember one awkward time I really needed to use the bathroom, and she was in there taking a really long time.
A really long
Uh,
dump.
She owned that bathroom. It was hers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but ants that hot do not go to the bathroom.
You're right.
No,
women,
no.
women
She-
They're
don't
only in
shit.
there to primp.
no.
guy.
She was in there post shower primping.
Yeah, she
And
owned that
just-
bathroom.
Just like
It was
pulled
hers.
me in there to use the bathroom while she was standing
Yeah.
there, completely nude. It was
Oh
so awkward
no
for
shit!
me.
Oh man.
Thankfully, I was very young. Even though I still felt very awkward, I didn't have to worry.
And
about
you
it.
remember
Well,
it. That says something.
But I got to be honest. That's the thing about my sister Rhonda. She broke the Allers mold, in the fact that we all just had this idea. We're taught this idea of what we're supposed to be like, and she's like, "Fuck everybody."
Growing up as Jehovah's
that-
Witnesses, you mean?
Growing up, and not only as Jehovah's Witness, but as an Allers. Peace in the house. You know, don't rock the boat. Don't ruffle the feathers. All that
Right,
shit.
right.
Rhonda was like, fuck it. It's you know, she basically owned the house and didn't care. And at the time I resented it, but as now I'm like, that was so fucking smart of her.
Yeah.
You know, because she was like, I'm going to do it my way. And, you know, if he needs to piss, I'm not letting him out. I'm not getting out of the bathroom or getting dressed. You know,
Hey,
it's the only bathroom in the house. I need it.
I'm not saying it's an unpleasant memory. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to be honest,
I don't know what you're saying, and I wish you would not explain.
There was a very small window in my life a long time ago when her and I got along.
Uh-huh.
And one time,
how long has it been since you've gotten along with your sister Rhonda?
A long time ago. I mean, not that I don't hate her.
I don't hate her either.
But I mean,
I've never known her well enough.
Other
to
than
her.
our mother, we don't have anything in common.
Right.
So, but one time we used to hang out together one summer at Wapato Lake. You know, we'd lay out in the sun and Dan. One time we were sitting weird from each other, laying out at the beach, and one time she adjusted herself, and she accidentally flashed me.
Oh, dear.
And that was so fucking awkward. I'm like, I saw my sister's pink nipple.
Oh, yeah.
See, it'd be a different.
It's a bad day.
And I just tried to blow it off. It's like, oh, I never saw it. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
It would
here
be a
is,
different
30 years
thing,
old.
like if we accidentally saw our sister naked, because there's such an age difference and weirdness difference. It'd be like, well,
Fair enough.
Man.
You know
Yeah.
what? When Tracy
Erase
said that,
my
I
memory.
thought about that. Like, what if we were... She's 16 now. But mentally, she's like 8 or 9, and I think her boobs are at about 8 or 9, too. So, like, it would just be especially weird if I saw it.
Yeah.
One more Rhonda story I want to tell. I actually wrote it down. The earliest memory I have of my Aunt Rhonda was correct me if I'm wrong, but she was in beauty school at some point in her life. Is that correct? Maybe
think-
even briefly?
I think she was for a little bit. I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay, I remember being pretty young, probably no more than 6 or 7 years old, and she was going through a phase where she was going to beauty school, and she is an attractive lady. I mean, every other person that's not related to us has told us they
for
want
a
to fuck
woman in
her.
her 40s with 4 kids, she still
Oh,
looks hot.
yeah.
She was the only time in my life I've ever seen a
But I mean, especially growing up, we had a cousin
Yeah,
that lived with us
but
that was so in love with her.
She even looked good while she was pregnant because not that she was vain, she always cared about how she looked.
Mm-hmm.
And even pregnant, she always looked good because it was important to her.
Right.
I think part of it is because she knew she did not look like an Allers, and she took advantage of it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? If I didn't look like an Allers, God, I'd be getting laid
yeah.
so much more.
So anyway, you were saying
I was just going to tell a story. I was a little kid, and she was going through beauty school, and so I needed a haircut, and my parents decided that it would be okay for Rhonda to cut my hair. And she actually sliced my ear with the scissors to the point where I was bleeding, and not knowing how to handle blood as a little kid, especially.
Yeah.
So I think I avoided her for a few years after
But
that.
let me ask you this: still better than the Flowbee, right?
Oh, God.
That Flowbee was painful. I may have talked about this before.
Oh, God. Did I hate the Flowbee? For those that don't know, it's a little infomercial thing. You hook it to your vacuum, and it cuts your hair somehow.
It sucks the hair up, so it
Sucks
sends
it through a
just
tube.
clips it and sucks it right
Can't
in the
believe
vacuum.
you brought this
And when
up.
you have a father without
remember-
the most gentle, without the gentlest of touch, it is pretty bad. And the worst memories I have are post Flowbee, when he'd do the touch up with the clippers,
Uh-huh.
and would constantly be yelling about how I was
Oh.
not sitting still. And I thought, if I brought a fucking mannequin in here and sat it down, he would still be yelling at it every time he fucked up.
But
And how do you fuck up with a
pinch-
Flowbee?
Okay,
The Flowbee is designed
no,
not
I'm
to
talking about
fuck
the
up.
clippers. The clippers.
Okay,
your
okay.
dad and haircut stories, my childhood.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Our mother cut our hair,
I've heard this story.
and also even
And I was able to tell. with a few of
even
your
worse,
haircuts.
she used scissors, sometimes pinking shears, which are a real pain in the ass, and clippers. But she cut our hair dry, so we'd be itchy and all because all this dry clips
that
of
was
hair
with
running
the
down her
Flowbee.
back.
Dry and tangled
Right.
hair.
But here was the worst part about getting a haircut. Bad enough you're sitting in the middle of the kitchen with it on a high chair with a towel around you to catch loose hair while you're getting your haircut. But your dad, even though he just got a fucking haircut,
Yeah.
would, like a broken record, Butchie Baldy, Butchie Baldy,
God, I
Butchie
fucking hate
Baldy.
it.
It's like, you know, what
Did
can
he
you
ever say that to us when we got haircuts? It
What would
sounds
happen was, I
familiar.
think what happened was, apparently this sense of humor carries along to other family members because Dad would be cutting our hair, and he'd do it in the kitchen.
Right.
And sometimes when there were daycare kids running around the house, like it was embarrassing no matter how young the spectators were. But yeah, we'd be sitting there with a vacuum cleaner basically sucking our hair up and cutting it at leisure. And then it was our Uncle Barry who was living with us at the time, and he would stand there, but he'd be mocking Dad, so it was
Yeah.
kind of funny. But he would do the same thing where he's like, ho, 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 and he would just stand there in the doorway and laugh at
holding
us.
his belly, laughing.
To an exaggerated degree where it was obvious he was just mocking our dad, but that was his exact sense of humor. I'd like to tell a couple jokes that my dad told, thinking they were funny our whole growing up.
Yeah, which I fucking despise.
And I apologize if I told these stories on the show before, but the one I want to tell is every time we were at a restaurant, let's say we were going to a Denny's as a family, because we were wealthy, let's face it.
Yeah, hey, Grand Slam, can't go wrong.
So every 2 months, we'd get the $3 Grand Slam, split it as a family.
And you guys weren't stoned? Wow.
You'd think we'd have to be, I know.
Would have helped, wouldn't it?
But no, the big joke was always my parents would order either salad or probably soup. My parents don't strike me as a salad
Your
type.
dad never ate salad.
Yeah,
Soup.
but he would eat a big meaty soup if it was on
Right.
the menu. And so the soup would come out before the rest of the meal.
And I
so
can just hear him. I can just hear him.
You already want to say it, don't you?
So what's the soup of the day?
No.
No? Okay.
Maybe. But so he'd order the soup.
Bastard.
We'd have ordered our meals, but the soup comes out first, obviously. Soup pulls up, and Dad says, while the waitress is there, because he wants the joke to be heard.
Of course.
Which, tell me, you guys, honestly, 1 to 10, is this a joke? The soup would pull up, and then he'd be like, guess you guys aren't eating tonight. That's the whole joke.
Every time.
I don't get it.
Based on your reaction, that's probably an 8 out of 10, right, Jason?
Yeah. That was a joke.
That was
actually.
only one of many. Any other times when he's excited, hot dog seems like we have a wiener. That was a
Hot
big
dog
joke of his.
sounds like a wiener.
Sounds like a wiener. That's right.
Oh my God!
And
your
another
dad
one
so
was,
funny.
which apparently you would be able to confirm this, but I think he got this joke from his dad, also your dad, our
Okay.
grandpa, who died when I was 6. But
When
he
I
would
was
make the
25,
joke. My dad would
4.
sometimes say, like if he saw us for the first time that day, coming downstairs, sleepy-eyed, he'd say,
3 o'clock
"Looks
in the
like
afternoon.
you remember to take your ugly pills this morning."
Oh
is,
God.
is,
Good
is that a
one.
grandpa joke?
I think so, but he didn't wear it into the ground like your dad has a tendency to do.
That's true.
You know, it's like
Then again, these would only be on days when Dad was in a good mood. So
Well,
they
and
were
the- and
few
the
and
thing
far
is-
like
between.
4 days out of 365, maybe.
Yeah.
some people find a joke and think it's funny no matter how many thousands of times they tell it. You know, and like, okay, fine if you're telling it to 1,000 different people.
Right.
But God, the same one over
But
and
the
over
joke
again,
has to be
no.
kind of funny to begin with, which he
Yeah.
never got down.
No, he was not.
And then also
never
he
that
was only
clever.
telling it to the 4 people he ever hung out with,
Which
was
always
his
amazed
immediate
me.
family.
The guy read so much, you think he'd have picked up a few things.
God, and he
you
was
know?
so good at Trivial Pursuit, Tracy.
Mhm.
Have you ever played Trivial Pursuit with that guy?
Yeah.
My dad is
I made
amazingly
sure I was
smart,
on his
and
team.
Jeopardy, like when he would sit there. Oh God, he's
Fact-
so smart, but he's so stupid when it comes to life decisions.
Actually, one time we pissed off my sister-in-law Sherry and her husband, my brother Russell, her husband, because we were all playing Pictionary one night, and I teamed up with Scott and
Good move on your
with
part.
your Scott, your dad.
Right.
Oddly enough, even though I don't get along with him, we do kind of have the same abstract way of thinking. And we had, I don't even remember what the clue was, but I remember he drew out just a little basic picture, and I got it right off the bat. And Sherry could have swore we were cheating. You know, she was so mad the game was over.
It's tough to
You know?
cheat at Trivial Pursuit,
Well, you can't-
first of all.
well, no, this was Pictionary.
Oh, Pictionary.
You
I'm
know,
sorry,
I mean,
missed
how
that
can you cheat
detail.
at Pictionary? You know,
Yeah.
unless you draw out the words. You know, and she was so mad because she was losing.
Pictionary is one game that I cannot play. It's one of a few games.
Well, I can't
Jenga
draw,
also
but I can
included.
think.
Well, that's part of it. But Jenga also.
Jenga-
There are certain games that
Jenga,
just frustrate me to the
also
point where
known
I'm
as
not having
the,
fun.
also known as the Twin Towers episode.
I love that joke.
You did that one first, didn't you?
Yeah, you never forget 9/11 when you're playing Jenga. You watch those towers
Oh,
fall,
heck
and
yeah.
just a tear comes to my eye.
Well, what it gets me is how they've added those little characters falling out of the windows from the top. You know?
Yeah, it just makes you sad.
Yeah,
I
it's just,
know.
you gotta love it, you know.
And they got
You
that
know,
little
you
voice
can-
activation bit that Osama bin Laden is rattling off in whatever language he
You,
speaks.
you hear as it's come down, Allah Akbar.
You two are way too obsessed with Blossom.
No, but I remember the same thing. PJ and I, at least me, I don't remember if you were involved with this little scenario, but I had like a little dual cassette boombox that Mom and Dad had bought me for anniversary, which
I
was
remember-
our version of Christmas.
Yeah.
I remember how badly you wanted that
JW
thing
Christmas.
leading up to when
Oh
you got
God, I was very specific in my
Dual
anniversary
cassette.
list. Yeah.
Oh my
so,
God, I can bootleg.
So I would buy blank tapes, and then I would I would put the boombox in the kitchen, like while my mom was cooking dinner, and right when my dad would come home, and I would set it to record on a blank tape, and I would just record their conversations. And
without them knowing?
Without them knowing.
Oh, sweet.
And that worked for a few tapes worth, where I would listen back, and they would talk some shit about me and PJ. I wish I could remember specifics. But it was just really interesting and eye-opening. And then, like, the third or fourth tape in, I was listening to it, and my parents were talking about something, not knowing they were being recorded. But then all of a sudden it turns to my dad saying, the light's on this stereo.
No way. I don't believe this story.
I swear to God it's true. I can't believe I've never told you this.
Oliver Stone to direct this story.
The magic tape.
I swear to God this is true. So my dad on the recording says the stereo's on, the light's on. He says
the recordings of mistrust.
Nick and PJ must be recording us, and that's when it clicked off. But it also reminds me of another story real
Nick
quick.
And PJ.
Yet you got the tape back unscathed. Dad didn't listen to it.
And I love the fact that he.
Why would he listen to it? He knows what he said.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't involved in this.
I thought that you were. I thought this story would ring true for you.
No,
maybe that was my own weird thing. I don't know. But then, do you also remember when we used to play Spies? And then we would dart around the house in the living room where Dad's sitting watching TV, convincing ourselves in our own little fantasy world that he doesn't see us as we're darting from piece of furniture to piece of furniture.
I remember trying to belly crawl across the big screen TV and Mom saying something.
Oh, you remember
that big
This is
screen
what I'm
TV.
building towards. This is the crescendo. I'm so glad you remembered.
Mom says something about it, and Dad's like, just let him be, Jackie.
And that's when we never played Spies again, because Dad obviously knew, but Mom ruined the illusion by coming in from work and being like, your kids are idiots. They're crawling on the floor in front of you. And then he's like, I know what they're doing.
It's a guy thing.
Is it a guy thing or is it a fag thing?
No, it was a guy thing, because I remember being a kid, probably in that same fucking house.
Yeah.
that I grew
Oddly,
up in the
yes.
house you did, pretending that the floor was like the ocean. And, and the only safe place was the couch, and and there were sharks out there,
And let's not forget Hot Lava Monster. Hey, everybody.
Hey, chicken fight on the monkey bars, the rusty, unsafe mic.
What does Stacy have to do with this?
Quick story that I just wrote down. PJ.
So, PJ.
PJ. Thank you, Tracy. Another thing we used to do, this had to have been 93, 94, whenever Harrison Ford's The Fugitive came out, we would play The Fugitive, which involved me being Tommy Lee Jones and PJ being Harrison Ford, or vice versa.
Did we
depending on the
just
day.
Repeat the lines from the trailer over and over again?
Yeah. You said I didn't kill my wife. I said I don't care. And then I starred in No Country for Old Men. But... yeah, so, I remember there was the abandoned house across the street that apparently I was born in, basically.
Oh, God, that thing. Yeah, I remember that.
But PJ and I...
so much a house,
the
is
shack.
a shack.
Like, here's PJ, Richard Kimball, and I don't know if I'm Tommy Lee Jones or the one-armed man at this point, but PJ's actually hiding in a little...
I think I got confused.
A barrel garbage can outside. You look like Oscar the fucking Grouch.
I thought we were playing Quantum Leap, and I had my beef jerky in my mouth.
That is a true story, Tracy.
Yeah,
Stacey.
who's beef jerky in your mouth?
you pop beef jerky in your mouth, and you look like Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap.
That's what we thought. We would drop 59 cents for a beef jerky stick, and then go home and play out a Quantum Leap episode in our own heads
for about 2 minutes until the stick was eaten.
Oh man,
yeah.
was
Once
a
we
good show
eat through
for
the
first
cigar,
first season.
Have you gone back on DVD and watched Quantum Leap?
No,
I have never
was
seen
there
the
first
pilot,
time around.
and I would love to see him step into the Quantum Leap accelerator.
The pilot was good. The first season was good.
Is
But
that right? In the first season was
even
it?
the second season, but then it just got old after that.
I remember being a kid and not knowing what the show was, but all the adults were talking about it. And one scenario that got brought up, and I think I've seen the episode consequently, but he was a chimpanzee for one episode.
Yeah.
That's
saw
what
that one.
was it. Jump the shark. Might as well have
Was
been
that
a
when?
shark
Because
in
that was first or
I
second
thought so.
season, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I also remember in the later seasons, like, it got really weird. He was Elvis in one episode. Then he leapt into his own body as a teenager, which was
but
kind
then-
of expected.
That
He
was-
did that like 3-4
Yeah.
more times too.
leapt into his own
and I
body.
think
or at least was directly involved in his own family's life.
Right.
I
I
think
remember
he
that being a
jumped into-
big story arc.
I think he jumped into Dean Stockwell's body too.
Oh, I remember that one.
But no, I think this was
No,
not
I
on
know
camera
which episode
though.
it is.
But it wasn't on camera. I think it was like when they were. Just
No, I remember
believe-
because there was a tease to the next episode, and Al.
No. Okay, you guys
Took
are
me a
getting
second.
confused here. Al, in one point, did the leaping instead of Sam. Sam
part
didn't
does
leap
Ziggy
into
play in
Al's
this
body. Ziggy, they would show Ziggy
I'm talking about
occasionally.
Ziggy from the comic strip.
Ziggy had a big white mustache. But Sam, at one point,
He was just happy to be there.
he leapt into sometime in the 60s, I believe, during Vietnam War, and Al is feeding him all the information that Ziggy's giving him about what his mission is, but it turns out that Al was making Sam stop Al's wife from getting married because she thought he was dead in Vietnam, but he wasn't really. So Al was using his knowledge for selfish deeds, and really Sam was
Ooh.
supposed to be saving a baby, which he did at the very end, and then he had to let his wife go because otherwise that would fuck
Which
up.
is
I
why
see, I
I
see.
like the newer linear series where they're not wrapping it all up at the end of the fucking hour. You know, like
Yeah, I
Lost
still
and
kinda like that,
shit
But
though.
like
that's kind of what I liked about Quantum Leap, and then also Sliders pretty
New
much
Adventure.
dealt with the same scenario. It's
Sliders
every-
sucked.
ridiculous.
Sliders sucked.
Oh, I
started
agree
so
No,
good.
wholeheartedly.
When you guys may not remember this, but there was a show
I
right
remember
on
when
before
Sliders
that
came
called
out.
VR5.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Strange
No.
Luck with DB
VR.
Sweeney.
Oh, that
there
came
was-
out after
There was a
Sliders, I think.
very
Same time.
short-lived series called VR5. I can't even describe it to you anymore.
I remember the
Anybody
title.
listening will remember it.
No, they
but it-
won't. Do you
but-
know our listeners?
It was virtual reality 5. A woman that was kind of like going into people's, kind of like the movie The Cell, going into people's
I remember that
minds through
movie,
a
and the
computer
entrails
program.
pouring out of his chest.
It was a brilliant show, but it was ahead of its time. Then Sliders came out and competed against it, and VR5 got canceled. Sliders went on way too fucking long.
Way too long.
Way too
I remember
long.
when most of the cast bailed,
The-
except for
yeah.
the fat kid from
At-
whatchamacallit.
At
Which
one,
one do you care
at one
that
point, they were in a world where Sliders was a TV show on the Sci-Fi
Yeah,
Channel.
that was
And
terrible.
they
Is
were
that
all
right?
And they were all characters.
That is
on
so
the show.
meta. I almost want to watch
it was
now.
terrible. And what's his name? John Rhys Jones. Is that his name?
John
John
Rhys
Rhys
Davies.
Davies.
John Rhys
No,
Davies.
wait, no, that's
Sala.
the match
I mean,
point guy.
Sala. It was right.
John Rhys Davies is match point.
Is it?
It was
And
what?
Tudors.
John Rhys
Uh,
Myers is
John
match
Rhys
point.
Myers.
Yeah, John Rhys
That's
Davies.
match point.
Okay, you're right.
Oh,
You're right.
let's put it this way.
Switch it. Pam with two M's. That's where
The
I
Well,
was.
only
they
thing-
look identical.
The
so.
only thing that matters, he was in Indiana Jones.
Yep.
He's so overacted and so hammed it up in
In Indiana
Sliders,
Jones?
it was
Oh.
ridiculous.
As Maximilian
It was
Arturo?
It was awful.
I really loved.
Maximilian Archer.
I really loved the first season.
Remember
You
the
got
black guy he called him
Crying
cue
Man-
ball all the time?
Crying
Jerry
Man
Connor?
Brown. I forget what his first name was, but he was the Crying Man.
one of the very last stereotypical roles on television. I
Yeah.
think. You know, it was. Oh, it was-
Possibly. I think if you watch the George Lopez show, you'll see a lot of like stereotypical white couples.
true. The
And then
one race
even
you can
so,
pick
like-
on now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But even
Exactly.
so, like, even like the Mexican grandmother is like any stories you've ever heard of a Mexican grandmother. But I guess
You know better than we do, but
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, you're the only one here with a Mexican wife, or a wife at all.
Her Mexican grandmother is a sweet lady. My Mexican mother-in-law.
Not so much.
Hey guys, what about mother-in-laws, right?
Are
Are
those-
mother-in-laws like go to a school to learn how to hate their son-in-laws?
Is this a stand-up bit you're trying out on us?
I
You're
think
trying to be-
I think that honest to God is one that I wrote when I was younger, and I just remembered it.
Look, the next Dane Cook.
I've been trying to remember. all
Don't
of
say
them.
that.
I know. It's,
He has hopes and dreams.
Sarcasm doesn't come across well on this, does it?
I do rip off a lot of people's jokes.
Including Dane
the
Cook?
next Carlos Mencia. Okay, gotcha.
I've heard that about. I didn't hear about that until him and George Lopez both came to Yakima like in the same week. 93% Hispanic town, of course. And they have a
93
big
it's gone up to.
rivalry. One of them punched the other one in the face. And
Is that right?
Here-
I accused
here's
him
the
of stealing
question:
jokes.
If Carlos Mencia performs in Yakima, is it in English or Spanish?
I don't know,
That's
dude.
a good question.
But let me tell you something.
and if it is in Spanish, does it have subtitles for us English folks?
everybody in town goes, and they all come to the Olive Garden first for a drink.
And do they all, when they see that
Drink
he's
Patron and
when they
Corona?
see
Yes.
that he's performing, do they go away?
Dude, they love him.
Call back.
George Lopez.
Now, you know, as a bartender in Yakima, do true Mexicans ask for a lime with their Corona or without? Do they do without?
On a day-to-day basis, they're not coming to the Olive Garden to drink Corona.
And
they're like $7 a beer there. They got their own bars they go to on their own side
and
of town.
do true Mexicans really drink Corona?
When Carlos Mencia is
I like
in
to
town,
think that I'm a true
yes.
Mexican and that I do drink Corona.
Corona's. I've drank piss water that was stronger than
I
Corona.
love
Whatever. Corona's
Whatever.
a good
come-
drink of
any
beer.
you got to put lime in just to get some flavor out of. Come on.
I disagree. I'm against the lime.
Usually when I
Although
drink
I do
Corona,
like the Chilada style Miller. Sorry.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's
Isn't
not-
that just like a spritz of Sprite in your beer?
No,
Isn't that all it
it's
is?
a spritz of lime in your beer. It's like
Right,
if you
Sprite.
accidentally put a lime in your MGD.
I guarantee the Coca-Cola company is behind all of it, Tracy.
Oh, the Coca-Cola's behind everything. Didn't you know
You
that?
put the
It's
lime in
grand
the
conspiracy.
coconut.
I drink the bowl of love.
do you remember that
Speaking
awful
of bowls.
commercial Coke had? And
Oh, they used the Harry Nilsson song,
you,
didn't they?
you put the lime in the Coke, you nut.
Oh,
no one
Coke,
could hear.
you nut.
No one could
Nobody
hear the
could-
difference.
yeah.
And later on, it came with closed captioning on the commercial.
And
Good
I'm-
news, my friends.
and
We
the
have a
lime in the
YouTube
Coke-
video.
And I'm
comma,
surprised
you
people
nut.
weren't going, well, they're putting coconut in the Coke?
That's what I thought the first 10 times I saw that commercial, quite honestly. But I'm
I
an
remember
idiot.
that song when it first came out, and then I hadn't heard it for years, and I thought maybe I just made it all up.
No.
I should have written it down. A fever nightmare or some shit.
Name one other Harry Nilsson song that was a hit.
Uh,
There's at least one other.
Put the lemon in the papaya.
Yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
that one. Shows up on
Yeah,
rotation
that's
from
it.
time to time.
Pepsi tried to go with it. It didn't work.
Remember Crystal Pepsi? Huh, guys?
Oh, God, I remember, yeah. Clear
You were
everything.
probably there for that.
Oh, yeah, I was there for
I was
that.
an 8-year-old. I gave
I'm
a
old.
shit.
Shut up.
You don't remember Crystal Pepsi? I guarantee you can buy some on eBay.
Probably.
No, I know you can. But what about New Coke? You think we could get that on
I got
eBay?
Buzz
New
Cola.
Coke?
You got
From
Buzz Cola?
Buzz
Oh.
Cola from Simpsons.
What about
That's right.
Jolt Cola?
Okay.
I remember
Jolt Cola?
That
I
was
think
awesome.
it still exists, Jolt Cola, doesn't
I
it?
think they may have finally taken it off the shelf. I
What
think
about-
it's
what
gone
about-
now.
Is that right?
Okay.
Is that because too much caffeine is illegal?
No, I
Because
think
that's how
it-
they used to
no,
promote
I
it in
think
the
it's because
commercial.
Red Bull killed them.
Oh, yeah.
Red Bull came out.
Nobody wants a soda
Yeah.
when they can have a Red Bull.
Yeah.
Gives you wings.
I would much rather have a Jolt Cola. But do you guys remember OK Cola?
Yeah,
It was
OK
this
Soda,
weird-
I think it was.
OK Soda.
Wasn't that just like a store brand or something?
No,
it
it
was
was some
Coca-Cola, I
weird,
think.
like really alternative, like real popular among the kids.
Grunge
like-
Coke?
I know. I remember when we
was
were in
grunge
middle
Coke.
school, at least when I was in
Yeah.
middle school, at
Kurt
Baker
Cobain
Middle
drank
School.
it.
Yeah, quite bought. And it tasted like flat Coke mixed with Minute Maid orange. or
Yeah,
something.
that's exactly
But
what it was.
everybody drank it like
Because it was
you
50
better have
cents and it
bought-
was at our school.
And every now and then, instead of when you push the button for a pop, every now and then it would come out a little can size holder with a T-shirt in it.
Is that right?
Yeah, in the
Okay, maybe
one
that's
in
why
our
I called
middle
it
school.
okay.
I remember.
got a t-shirt.
I remember Coca-Cola also did a promotion where it was like around the Super Bowl. I want to say when I was a kid, and they would weigh a can out specifically to feel exactly like a cold, refreshing can of Coca-Cola when you pull it out of the box. But instead, you open it and it's a voice activation system that says you win some
They-
bullshit prize.
They
Oh.
still do that with everything.
That reminds
right?
me, way back when I was working at Fred Meyer, Pepsi had all these kind of different promotions going on. Pull the tab off and see how much money you would win. Well, they had put out a new promotion, but none of us really knew when it was coming out. I actually thought I had won $10,000 and tried driving down to the Pepsi place
Oh,
to
God.
cash it in. Unfortunately, they were closed when I found out the next day that I was wrong and didn't make an ass out of myself. But I was such an idiot. I'm driving around
What
with
an
my sister
exciting
Rhonda.
time.
I'm driving around with my sister Rhonda, telling her what I'm going to buy. And what was I going to buy? You know what I was going to do with that $10,000? I was going to buy video game cartridges for my Atari 2600. $10,000 worth.
Was there even $10,000 worth?
Yeah, because games were $50 a pop.
Oh
back
God,
then.
that's amazing. Games are $50 a pop now, and they're so
Yeah,
much
but
better.
this was Atari 2600 games you can download that they pay you to download on your,
Yeah,
on your
that's
iPhone,
true.
you know,
That's right.
so-
When
In
I'm on
this
a bus,
economy.
yeah, when I'm on a bus, I
Right?
want to play some fucking Pong or whatever it was. We had an Atari 2600, you and I.
Yeah, we did.
Hey, I
as
still
kids.
got one. It's an
Do you
antique
really?
now. Yeah, it's sitting over there.
Put
Yeah,
that shit on
I'm
eBay,
pointing.
Tracy.
You have
I
a
bought it
pretty
on
thing.
eBay.
Oh, never mind then.
You have a Pee-wee's Playhouse playset.
Oh, hell yeah.
Your
have
house
everything.
I've got-
is, and I said this off air too. I apologize for repeating myself. Pretend to
for
laugh
it.
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, your house is definitely the most interesting place we've ever recorded in.
It's what I call
I'm
it.
glad that you allowed us to come out here, like you mentioned before we started recording, and I'll throw it in your face now. You're not used to having company these days, yeah?
No, I'm not. I don't
So-
let people in my house anymore because I don't trust people.
Even after we showed up here and there was a knock on the door, it turned out to be the mailman. Is that correct?
FedEx, yep.
Yeah, but you still seemed a little terrified.
Yeah, I mean, I've got guests in the house that are invited and someone is at my door who's uninvited. I keep that gate locked for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck is at my door? Is it Tim? Is it your dad? Who the hell is here? that
Okay,
I didn't
guys, I
ask
think
to
it's
come
time
here?
to open the box. Tim, can you breathe in there?
Your son
I
Tim!
thought I heard thumping or praying.
I heard ponytail braiding.
I refuse to listen anymore.
I was just telling someone was talking about how they love shopping at Fred Meyer, like their grocery shopping, and I was remembering like how we always hung out there as kids.
Maybe it's because I worked there.
No, it was
Oh, you
Not
did
when-
work there.
It was
Yeah,
way
but not
after
when
you
you were.
worked there.
Not when you. Yeah, that was.
But we used to go there with like Nick Keogh and Josh Swigert and
Oh, Fred Meyer was the hangout in
fucking
the
hang
day.
out there
That's
and
pathetic.
push the
One of the few
customer
places we
service.
could walk to.
We'd make it say customer service to the toys, and we'd run away.
That was a good trick. We also used to do the thing where I don't know if they do this anymore at grocery stores, probably not in this technical age, but they would have the little automatic dispensers that would give you coupons in the aisle. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The little red machines, and then we used to go and just run through as fast as we could and try and
They
we'd
had
give
the
each
little
other a
motion
time limit
detectors.
and see how many we could collect and then come back. Not that we were going to use, not that we had $1 worth of money between us.
God, you guys got away with shit. I couldn't even. It's time to start the Lifetime channel music.
Oh yeah,
God,
I think Melissa Gilbert's
no,
here.
Yeah, really. I never got to go out and even try to do shit like that. I didn't even get to have friends to hang around with do that kind of shit. You know, as big as it.
You never got to play The Fugitive?
No, I didn't. I never got
Beef
to even
jerky,
watch
you know.
the TV show. We were so sheltered. You know, we had to be home. You know, where we were safe and where mom didn't have to keep an eye out for us. And it always kind of gets me that I think it was maybe your mother, your influence from your mom, that your dad didn't make you do that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because I think your mom was the balancing force because she wasn't in all ours. You know, so she was raised like a real human.
Mom was a balancing
You know?
force.
Let me stop you right there.
Oh, really?
Let me stop you right there.
At mom, balancing, and force.
Wow. Well,
No.
Was this just something I read?
What were you reading? What will I never read?
Fiction, obviously.
Obviously. I'd like to read my mom's autobiography, by the way. I think that would be really poorly
It would
written.
be interesting if she could write it. I'd like to read it. I'd like to.
Oh.
I would.
Do you
like
remember
to,
the one time I was dating one Stacey Doan, episode 26, right?
Yep, I think
No.
so. No,
27.
27, I'm sorry.
Storytelling, that would be 28.
Storytelling, yes,
That would be
thank you,
number
Tracy.
28.
You're a reference guide as well as our uncle tonight.
He's our Vin Pereira, like in the Kevin Smith commentaries.
But no, I remember my previous girlfriend, ex-fiance Stacy, used to claim to be a writer and always aspired to be an editor. And Mom had all these bullshit diary entries that she had written, like, since the time her dad had died, which was, what, 96?
I read some of those. Some of those were very derogatory towards me.
And she needs to
She
learn the
loved
difference
you.
between your, and your.
She chased the boy all the way to
Oh,
Fred
God.
Meyer once.
I hate that. Why can't people figure out how to spell your and
Are they-
your in the proper...
Are there 3 yours,
Drives
or
me-
did I fuck that up?
Yours?
Yeah.
There's
I'm
No,
thinking
no.
of theirs.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but
Two yours.
the point is the same. Why can't people figure out there's your and you are?
Oh, man.
I
You know when I
hate
figured
that.
that out? The 3rd fucking grade.
You know when you should
Exactly.
figure that out? When you're printing it on a billboard in Yakima.
Dude, there are so many awful signs in Yakima. What story was I telling just now?
About Mom's diaries.
Oh yeah, and so I was dating Stacy.
yeah.
I was dating Stacy, and
Tell me, Wolfman Jack.
Diaries After Dark.
Richard Dreyfuss, go after that girl in the T-bird.
excuse me for trying to make American Graffiti 3
your-
a reality. Most American Graffiti.
Did your mother mouth "I love you" from the car window?
I love that us three are laughing so hard because nobody else is.
My dream girl is my mother. I just want to put that out there.
Obviously.
Diary.
Oh yeah. So she comes up with this diary, and it's just like all these fake proclamations of who she is as a person, and she gives it to Stacy like her life's work, and is like, "I hear you're good with spelling and letters. Why don't you take a look at this and
Meanwhile,
edit it
it's-
for me?"
Meanwhile, it's please give me some attention. Please read this and talk about it.
This is pre-MySpace, so it's all she knew how.
And one page just says underlined over and over, "Not an Allers, not an Allers, not an Allers."
But she wants to be so bad with the friend requesting and the harassment.
Yeah,
And, the
and you know what?
lawsuits.
Forget that story. Here's a new story. Mom's side of the family, I'd say we never related to as well. Like, we have as many cousins, if not more, on mom's side of the family than we do dad's.
And other than a
But
certain
we're
few,
very much in all
And the one you
which-
lived with for a while.
right, exactly. He was one of a certain few, the one we lived with as children, Sean, that we actually even knew. Out of those, we're only in contact with one cousin from my mom's side of the family. What up, Daniel? How's Chico?
We'll send you more stickers, guy. He just asked for more stickers.
Yeah, all right. Did
He's
you send him
planting
some
in California.
stickers?
What's that?
Did you send him some stickers?
I sent him some initial stickers. Now he wants more.
I'd like to know that
Sweet.
they're up in some bars.
Real quick, info@planbrotherhood.com or whatever the other stuff is if you want stickers.
Okay.
And don't forget, there are still only 3 reviews on the iTunes site.
4 now.
4 now.
Yeah,
Oh
we
my
We got a
god!
new one from
And
our.
we appreciate yours, Tracy. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Yes,
I'm
that
not
was
God's
great.
black friend, but hey, it's close.
I think we're up to like a 4-star average. I don't read that shit. I don't care about it.
I do, and I'm just going to say right now, anybody that's posted a MySpace comment or voted for us on Podcast Alley, we thank you. Also, posted an iTunes review if you haven't already.
Yeah.
That's where it really
Exactly.
counts, I think.
I think so too, because I don't have a MySpace account. I don't like MySpace, so I won't post on there.
But
I
you
can't.
still follow up with us on MySpace.
I can still check you guys out on MySpace. 'cause you're
I'd
not
wager to
private.
say, Tracy, based on our conversation pre-record, you know the show, Playing Brotherhood, better than me and my brother at this point.
Oh God, does that make me a fanatic? Or just,
I don't know, but I'm flattered and creeped out. Either way.
oh, what can I say? I'm a proud uncle.
You're a proud uncle, but not a proud father. Is
Well,
that correct?
you're the sons. You're the sons I could have had if I'd have banged your mom. You know,
But is that worth it to bang my mom?
no
You
comment.
better in person more than a handful.
No
of times.
comment. No comment. She could only handle $1 at a time. I'm sure.
I think all it would take was like a dime bag and 20 pounds of emotional baggage.
Well, you were what my son would have been if he hadn't have been a Hammond. You know, his mom's side of the family.
Oh,
you
is
know,
that
so,
right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the maiden
yeah.
name. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Let's talk about Tim a little bit.
Okay. Well, let's go.
Are you prepared for
Do
this?
you want to do
prepared.
the rate your mate stuff?
PJ, let's do that as if we haven't already talked about it.
What?
Rate your mate.
Launch into it, guy.
I'm sorry, buddy.
No, that's better. That's better. Go.
All right. So, Uncle Tracy, you're what, the 4th born in
I'm
your
the
family?
third of
Third?
7.
Third of 7.
Third of 7.
Was it 3 sons in a row?
3 sons.
My dad?
3 girls, and then Barry. The last one was the tiebreaker.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you guys win, right?
Yeah, the boy.
all the pillow
the
fights.
The guys won. Pillow fights. Yeah, right. No violence in the house. We got to have peace in the family.
Turn off that kerosene lamp. Time to go to bed.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and don't forget to say your prayers to Jehovah.
And what do you say? Podcasting with one of your brothers or sisters soon?
What's that?
Other than Lori, you're going to start a podcast with one of your siblings?
No.
Look how well it's working for us. Like me and PJ, we just found a groove, man.
Yes, you did.
Get together with my dad.
And,
He's
and for
pretty
most
awesome.
of my family, I just like to find a hole.
Well, that's why you're one of 2 family members outside of ourselves that we've had on.
Is
Because
that 'cause
you're
we're-
one that we can trust, and that will be honest.
Or is that because we're human? I don't know.
Yes, we're one of non-robots in the family.
So, would you say that you blame like religion for a lot of the reason that you don't get along with a lot of your siblings, or maybe like half the siblings?
I think.
How many are even still Jehovah's Witnesses anymore?
Okay,
Right?
I think technically, one, maybe half are like hardcore. One I know is extremely hardcore. Russell, Barry,
Oh yeah, I forgot about Barry.
Terry,
No, not so much anymore.
not in
Terry's a girl, not a boy.
Yeah, but she's back and forth on it, and
Yeah.
then Rhonda in that order, probably of the
As
seven.
far as I know, her
Of the seven,
Terry's highest priority is being Walmart manager.
But I think it's in
Not a
that.
Jehovah's
Jeweler.
Witness
But I think
manager.
it's in that order of degree. You
Okay.
know, starting with Russell.
No, you're
down.
absolutely right.
You know, Russell, Barry, Terry, Rhonda.
And which of those siblings are you older than? Oh, where do we fall as far as the?
I'm the Russell.
chronological-
Russell's number 2. Your dad's number 1. He will always be number 1 to everybody, except himself. Wait, no wait. To himself and nobody else. Something like that.
So before we even move on to the rest of the siblings, one quick question about my dad,
Okay.
because I've heard rumors. How gross was he with girlfriends? Like when he was 17, 18, did he make out with them on the couch, like in front of all of?
Oh
his
yeah,
youngest-
right in front of us. Just
That's not cool.
Just flaunting it.
And that doesn't seem like my dad.
No, but your dad was a horn dog.
Is that right?
Yeah, your dad. Oh God, he had the biggest porn collection that I had.
Oh, you
we
turned us
found
on
it
to it.
eventually.
Yeah, but there was the earlier ones that
No,
my
no.
mother
You-
despised.
Yeah, you told us about
from
that.
childhood.
Oh,
I
we
mean,
found that in the basement when we
no,
took over that
no,
house.
but before that, when he lived in the house with our family.
That's what I'm saying. We
He-
found
no,
the
no, no.
old.
No, but
Playboys.
he used to also hide it. Remember all those board games he had?
No.
He used to have like board games, you know, Monopoly and all that kind of shit. He'd hide an issue or two inside of each one of those.
No, what's my dad
He had
looking
a-
at? Like Hustler, Playboy, what is it?
The real hardcore shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I
is that
mean,
right?
we, you know that OUI, whatever it's called.
No, I don't know that.
It was called We.
from the City of Angels. What's Paris?
Yeah,
City of
that's,
Lights.
yeah, that's
I know
it.
Ooh La La
Yeah,
from Back to the
no,
Future.
he had some pretty hardcore shit, and I was just that age where I understood, but I didn't understood. I understand, you know. And of
You
course-
understood, but
of
you
course,
didn't understand,
right?
right?
Exactly. Of course, and then of course there was. Not only was there the excitement of seeing porn, but the excitement of sneaking around in my brother's room, who I knew would kill me if he found out.
So
or
that
caught
gave
me.
you a little thrill, huh?
Double thrill, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I kinda see what you're saying, yeah.
And then there was the fear of getting caught by mom, getting into my brother's stash, which she despised in the first place, because, you know, a mother of 7 never had fucking sex, you know, and doesn't know what that's all about.
Yeah, no, not at all. Grandma's not a hussy.
No,
Just
not a
ask
bit.
her
You know,
18 umpteen
she's the
kids.
biggest prude I ever met, right? Can you imagine if she was wasn't? How many brothers and sisters I'd have?
Whatever. I think
Oh,
she
God.
would. I think she still had plenty of sex. Obviously.
Oh, I'm sure, but, you know, she wasn't going to.
But was she ever
admit
under
that.
protection? You think, or those are the 7 kids that they had the 7 times? they had
Oh yeah.
sex?
Well, the funny part is, I remember looking in their bedroom and finding semi-sid and condoms and all this.
I'm
kind
sorry,
of stuff.
semi-sid?
Semi-sid was a birth control device, a pill from way back when.
Okay.
It was a cream or whatever. I don't know what it was.
And that
But-
wasn't against religious beliefs at the
No,
time.
no, because
It's
because
still not.
Jehovah's Witnesses are not against birth control.
Okay,
They're
I know.
against
I know
abortion,
that.
but not
But
birth
why is
control.
that?
They're
You think
against
it'd be-
masturbation, but not birth
right,
control.
right, which is the
Well, you
ultimate.
can't
Because you
yourself
don't want to
pregnant.
waste
Which
your
is
seed.
the
You just want to put it into some snatch.
Exactly. But no, they practice. But the funny part is, Mom always said, "Well, we use the rhythm method, and I've got the worst rhythm in the world."
Oh,
you know, and I think that's where your dad gets
Nauseating.
his sense of humor.
This is
from.
our grandmother.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Grandma making a sex joke.
When
It's
Grandma
just-
got remarried, shortly before I did, she was making a lot of sex jokes about her.
Yeah,
and
she
new
was.
husband.
It seems to get easier
and
as
that's
you
as
get
a
older.
70-something-year-old, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and still
I mean,
very religious.
I think.
Unpleasant.
I think now
she
she's
won't
finally.
even say Mexican, for God's sake.
She's or lesbian, and daughter in the same sentence. I love you, Lori. Hi,
We
Janine.
all love Lori. Episode 20, Perfect Family.
By the way, and I'm sure she already heard this. If not, you can delete it. But Uncle Janine, one of the funniest things I have ever heard, and I hope she loved it.
Whoa. First of all, Tracy, she has not heard that joke. I don't know where you heard that joke.
This is all being edited out.
As long as we're talking about it.
This was a joke made in passing. It's a funny joke to say.
Let's be clear that you're the one that invented this joke.
For humor, you gotta act like a homophobe, right?
and you got to be proud of me when I emailed a response. It wasn't LOL. It was ha 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 ha.
Oh, okay. It was in an email I sent you,
Yeah,
right?
that was what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. I think you were drunk.
It was a funny
Yeah.
joke yeah.
RFLMAO. Emoticon, winky face.
Full of jokes. You can see me at the Sela Stand-Up Comedy Club.
PJ, you're doing stand-up? Is this correct?
Yeah, I am going to
Those
do
in the
some,
Eastern Washington area, which is none of our listeners.
I'm thinking about doing stand-up, and I want to run a couple jokes by you, Tracy. First of all, your youngest brother, Barry, is also going to be pursuing some stand-up pretty soon at the Jehovah's Witness Bleed Congregation Talent Show.
Which means the jokes will not be controversial, therefore not funny.
On February 8th, but I have also decided that why not? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do some open mic. And I would love for Nick to do it too. I'd love for us to do some stuff on stage
I
together.
don't have the nerve to do it,
But
man.
maybe I need to get up there and be successful first. But I don't know. Do I want to give away my whole act on the air?
Well, give us a
Uh,
couple of
just
jokes.
Give us a teaser.
Yeah.
Well, basically,
First of all, how much material do you have written right now, would you say? Solid.
Okay, regular jokes, solid 0.
Good start.
But I figured if I can do a character, if I can say,
By character, do you mean a voice?
yeah, exactly.
And if so, run the voice by
and
me.
a mask, a Halloween mask. run, Raggy.
I like it. I like where you're going so far.
um,
Pull up the mystery machine.
So basically, I'll be going up there and I'll be saying this is my act from my 8th grade talent show, but I was heckled off or I got nervous and I ran off the stage immediately. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. So it's jokes.
That's a good premise, by the way.
I like
that
it.
already.
I like it already.
So it's
You
jokes
know where you're going with
that I seemingly wrote when I was 13 years old in 1995. So they're very time period, and that way, if nobody laughs, they're a joke. Supposedly, a 13-year-old, not a 26-year-old wrote.
So you're
hope you
ripping
know
off
any-
Norm Macdonald.
I hope
from
you
the
know
most
any
recent
Urkel
roast.
Right,
references.
exactly. Basically,
All right.
ripping off Norm Macdonald of telling a lame joke and hope it gets a laugh.
But it was fucking brilliant, and I think you could pull it off.
Will there be any Urkel?
I was thinking.
I'd love at least 2 Urkel references would be good.
I want to pull out a notebook that I had written all these jokes on, and maybe it'll be an Urkel one. Doing the Urkel or an Urkel O's. Never mind.
You guys
but
want to stop recording and do the Urkel real quick?
There's room.
Yes, there is. Thank you again for the space.
But okay, I'll tell you one joke. Here's my joke.
Give us 2 jokes. Make this
uh,
the lesser of the 2.
Okay, the lesser of the 2. Hard to say. They're pretty bad. But okay, so my friend Jason says that he would never want to be dating Alicia Silverstone because all the paparazzi would be taking his picture all the time and be putting them in magazines. And I said, Jason, you don't have to worry about that. If they took a picture of you, the camera would probably break. Jason's a really funny guy. Funny looking.
Wait, was that joke number 2? That second one?
No, that's
Oh, okay.
same joke.
That was just a cap off to the first. I like it so far.
And then
I'm gonna be
you-
honest, I like it a lot.
You interweave the acts with little dad sayings like
Oh God.
when my friends leave, I like to say it's been a real pressure.
Which you have used on Twitter, and I have laughed at, only in knowing that that's what you're referencing.
Glad you could see me.
Joke number 2 is so there's a new movie coming out called The Usual Suspects, and it's
I
about
already am laughing.
and it's about 5
the period piece.
and it's about 5 habitual lawbreakers. I don't know who stars in it, but it should be the Spice Girls. Their crime, giving me a boner in the first degree. That's my act.
Yeah, well, I don't know how it jumps from Usual Suspects to Spice Girls so smoothly.
Because it stars 5 people. There's 5 Spice Girls, 1995.
How high were you when you thought of that joke?
Oh, I was
Because
pretty
it wasn't
high,
1995
I
that
was
you thought
high
of that
and
joke.
thinking I am a genius.
Although that was funny, what I thought was even more incredible was my brother Barry is going to perform.
Yeah, well, that's yet to be determined. I guess we'll see
Sorry.
come February 8th. I told him that I want to give him my video camera and have him record it because I'm sure I wouldn't be allowed within 50 feet of that Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, but I got a question though. Jehovah's Witnesses doing a comedy act?
Yeah.
It's like a talent
It's
show.
a talent show.
but-
Most of them are
but
just lip sync.
They don't have a sense of humor.
No.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
how can they have a comedy?
Well,
act?
Do you think I was funny before I
I
stopped
think that
becoming a
means
Jehovah's
that
Witness?
they're going to laugh at everything.
That would be like
that's-
paraplegics having a dance contest, wouldn't it?
I'd be down for that.
I've only
I'd
good
more
laugh.
so than that.
I've only seen videotapes of Jehovah's Witness talent shows, and it's always like Caleb and Lacey, or no, Caleb and
cousins.
Uncle Dave
And our
dressed up
uncle,
in leather
Uncle Dave.
jackets doing a song from Greece or something like that. And the audience is just fucking eating it up.
Yeah, but they were really young.
Wasn't this an episode of Full House?
Yeah, the Beach Boys showed up. They jammed.
God.
I just can't believe that they still have these talent shows, but
I can't believe they still have their religion.
Well,
They've
they-
been wrong for so long.
And the number
Like-
is dwindling. Am I wrong?
there are 6 million Jehovah's Witnesses
Still?
worldwide, or 5 million, but less than 1 million in the country where they started.
is that the
In
USA?
this country, there's
US
less
of
than
A.
1 million.
Less than a
Jehovah's
million?
Witnesses.
What other
Yep.
country
That
is
is
there?
incredible.
No, because there's
So
a lot.
does China hold them all?
No, I think it's Mexico.
Mexico.
No,
That's
isn't it?
worse.
Isn't it like a lot of African countries?
Ask
that
your
come
wife.
right
I think
on
so. I
that?
think it's a lot of
Does she believe in God?
desperate people in that.
No, but she does know
she believes in
everything about
Dios.
Mexico.
She believes in Dios. Get your Spanish
If I have to
right.
hear "Adios mio" one more time, I'm gonna hit her in the head with the tortilla.
Tell her
maker.
from now on it's Allah Akbar.
I'm sorry that we're all trampling over each other's jokes. They're all so funny.
Hey guys, my kid's only half Mexican. Hopefully, she'll tip her waiter 7.5%.
Is that in your stand-up act? Because it should be.
That should be right
I might
there.
make the cut.
So the jokes Barry's going to tell us like just going to be about his ex-wife. or
He
just,
told me that a lava.
Oh, I wish any of his jokes would be about his
He
ex-wife.
told
his
me
ex-wife
But he's
is a
spineless.
joke. Thank you for that setup.
What fat joke do you know? Because you could translate that to his wife.
His
You
wife.
heard the one about her sitting around the house? Literally.
When she went to school, she sat by the whole class.
You guys remember that time she sat on a quarter and squeezed a booger out of George Washington's nose?
That goes back to a living color, doesn't it?
Oh, I love that show. Fireman Bell.
Speaking of Fireman Bill, that's what Barry's comedy. He said he's going to try to have a lot of rubber face, Jim Carrey style, and some visual humor,
Is
and
that
some
right?
Jehovah's Witness humor, which I find to be edgy.
God. Wow.
About
Especially still being within the religion,
like,
sure.
like
About
how there
avoiding-
can how
All
there can,
my jokes as a stand-up right now would be about Jehovah's Witnesses, but only about how horrible they are.
yeah.
what, about how confused they are when they get the door. Should I use the doorbell or the knocker?
That's pretty good.
Or do
actually.
I
like
just
that.
stomp on the ground while making a knocking motion so the elder in the car thinks I'm trying to preach? Did you ever do that, Tracy? Did you ever go door to door?
Oh yes, I did.
Oh my God!
Until
no.
how old? When did you drop out officially?
That's a tough one. I officially dropped out in my late teens.
Late
I was
teens.
never baptized,
Okay.
but I knew
Which
by the
we've
time.
discussed on the
Me
show
neither,
before,
my brother.
is it?
But I
My brother from my grandmother.
I knew.
Yeah, not me, your
that-
brother.
that's
I
it.
was baptized.
I knew from the time I was 12 or 13 that there was no God and that I was an atheist. But try telling that to my mother.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, so I did it for the show and I did it for the social, whatever, little bit of social.
Put on some George Jones and
Right.
tune out. That's
What,
what she
right.
is.
Well, whatever I could get for a social life, I could only get at the Kingdom Hall. So that's the only reason I went, was just to get that. But then,
I remember
but
that being fun
but see, the mistake
sometimes.
that caused was I ended up finding my wife there. Or my future, I ended up dating somebody that was a Jehovah's Witness. And,
Oh, is that right?
And that was
Do we
the
want to give a
biggest-
name so I knew who we were talking about?
her name at the time was Bonnie Hammond.
Bonnie Hammond.
Then
Her name now is Bonnie
then
Hammond,
became
correct?
Bonnie
Zymet.
Allers, then Bonnie Zymet.
Really? She was
now
married to Robert
Bonnie Hammond.
Zemeckis.
The joke is, if your father was here, yeah, she went from A to Z.
Oh God, that's a pretty good joke.
That's not terrible.
No, I don't see my dad telling that joke.
Better,
so
than,
almost.
better than
Well,
my
see,
joke about
but
her
it's-
having a cameo in the Polar Express.
Was that a joke?
It was gonna be.
Okay.
The smartest thing she ever said was "I do," and the dumbest thing I ever said was "I do." But
Brought a beautiful baby into this world.
oh really? Who?
A beautiful, not annoying child
Oh, that guy.
who we all love.
All right.
Do we want to talk about family?
Let's just do it now. I want to talk about Tim most of all. Can we just do it?
Yeah,
Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's rate your family.
For everybody who wonders, yes, I am the infamous Tim's biological father.
Is he infamous? Have we mentioned him enough on the show?
He's been mentioned.
He's been mentioned. He's been
very
referred to.
spastic cousin of ours.
He's an anomaly. He's
is.
a kid who was brought up pretty close in age to us.
very close to you, especially.
You and his mom got divorced when he was how old?
6 months old.
6 months
Is
old.
that right?
Wow.
I thought he was
Earlier
older
than
than
that.
He was less than a year old when we got divorced.
Is that
So we
right?
knew him like
Wait. I'm sorry. How long were you married to her before he was born?
2.5 years. No. We were married for 2.5 years, so we'd been married for 2 years when he was born.
Okay. Excellent. I never knew that
Yeah.
piece of
So
information
we would
before
see
now.
Tim. Grandma was all about family and stuff like that, and so
Yeah.
it was like, a lot of our family members, they all wanted to get together and hate each other, and so Tim would come around, and I remember he would go through phases. He was like us. He looked like us.
He looks enough like us even still.
He was
He
our
looks like an
cousin.
older,
He
yeah.
was so close in age to me. I think we're 4 months apart,
And a few IQ points. But
yeah. But he was
in whose favor?
He was being raised by a
You
totally
figure.
different family, by like a trash stepdad who fucking hated him.
yeah.
Let me ask you this:
fucking hate
Bonnie's future husband. I don't know if she even married to that guy anymore.
No, they're divorced.
Tim's stepdad?
They're
Okay.
divorced,
Did
yeah.
you ever meet that guy?
Oh yeah, more
What
than
a
once.
piece of trash.
Yeah,
huh?
but perfect suit for her.
Yeah.
I guess so. I never
I
knew
mean,
her that well.
you know what I used to think whenever I would see them together, I'd go, and this is coming from an atheist.
Right.
Oh, there, but
I
for
hope
the
they find God.
there, but for the grace of God, go I. Because that was me. That was future white trash down my path because I would
Yeah.
have followed her lead.
I am
Wow.
glad
You
you
know?
dodged that bullet.
I
I'm glad
in
you
my
dodged that
later
bullet.
years, or my younger years, I guess, my early teenage years, I spent a lot of time in that house,
I'm sorry.
and it was poor living conditions.
Oh,
I
God,
remember,
yeah. And
yeah.
tigers. Pictures of tigers.
The
all over
pictures of
place.
velvet
She
pictures of
loved
tigers.
Is that right? I don't
Blanket,
remember that
yeah.
detail.
Throw blankets.
No white. No.
You weren't there
idea.
nearly as often as
I know, but I would occasionally show up there. Like you, Tim would invite us over to spend the night, and there was at least 2 or 3 times.
Well, that's really young.
Yeah, but I remember his stepdad. What's his name again?
Mike.
Always in the garage doing something shady.
Smoking weed.
It's getting started.
More than weed, I would think.
No, it was smoking weed.
think-
I
yeah, I
was
think
there
it
in
was
my
weed.
teenage years. He was just smoking weed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Oh,
understandable.
But at least
then.
I have to give him credit. They always smoked outside because his sister,
Rest in peace.
had
Cross
cystic
motion on my
fibrosis,
chest.
and she didn't want smoking around the kids, so at least he did it out in the garage all the time.
That would have
You know?
been real.
I mean, I give
Real
the guy
trash if
I
they
give the
smoked
guy
in the
credit
house.
because
And if
He
you're
married-
fathering Tim, I know that you didn't do it
Right,
often. But if you were fathering Tim, you'd need to smoke pot in the garage
exactly,
all the time.
and also I got married telling her I don't want children for at least 5 years. She got pregnant as soon as she could.
And that's because she did a slip up on the pill. Is that right?
Intentionally. She admitted it to the wrong person, and I found out about it.
Do you
but-
mind telling that story really quick?
I believe she told my sister Terry that she was spitting
mouth.
out the birth control pills behind my back.
I don't even know how I know that story. But
and-
that is fucked up.
and
That's true.
And then because that was why she married me, because she wanted a baby, and I didn't want one for at least 5 years. I
Right.
wanted to wait. I want the marriage first, then the family later. So the point is, I give Mike credit because at least he married her knowing there was a child involved.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I gave him credit for choosing to raise the child that I didn't want to raise.
How old was Tim though? Did we know that Tim was as weird as he was at the time that Mike joined the family?
No,
Yes, he was weird from so young.
Yeah,
He-
but we're all weird when we're really young.
No, but he was different. I mean, when I would have my visitations with him, even as just a little kid,
And how much time is that per week? Or
like it was one every weekend, every other weekend. I
every
had
other
him for a
weekend?
while.
For how many hours?
I'd have him for the whole weekend.
Oh, okay.
No, the whole weekend.
Not like
but,
my dad, which is
but,
4 hours.
But
a month with
on
my
top of that,
sister.
I was also
Father of the
living.
year.
I was also living back at my mom and dad's house.
Right.
Because I had
makes it
had
weird.
also lost my job at the same time I got divorced, so I had no money, had nowhere to live, so I'm living there, and so I was obligated to take in Tim, and I was open minded about Tim. He's my kid, and he's a kid, and I had learned how to get along with kids through the years, But I judge people on who they are, not on how they're related to me. This kid from the start was just an oddball, just off the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard of sore losers at games.
Oh, my
This kid was a
God.
sore winner.
Yeah.
This guy, you wouldn't want to play
Wait.
games.
How do you mean?
You'd play
Rub it in your face.
Yeah, you just. I mean,
he'd tell you what you're doing wrong.
No, I know what a sore
I mean,
winner is.
Okay, here's like, remember the board game Sorry?
Yes, I do.
One time we're outside playing this board game Sorry. I don't know, he's 4 or 5 years old, and he was losing, and he went into what I thought looked like a fucking narcoleptic fit and passed out.
Maybe it was a floating bone.
To the point where I actually got on the phone with his mother and said, I didn't know he had narcolepsy. What's going on here? You know, she's like, narco what? and then I figured out later it was his reaction to losing.
Yeah.
So I started letting him win. And boy, he made winning seem like the worst thing in the world. He would just rub
man.
it in so bad that you didn't want to play with him anymore.
Even as a 4 or 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
the guy was dramatic from the start, which could have been a good thing if he had the brain cells behind it to back it up, because it would have been a sign of creativity.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just him being something wrong in his head. I
Yeah.
don't know what. But even his own grandmother will admit, my mother has admitted before, you know, you can go 6 months without seeing him. Within 10 minutes, you're pissed off at
Yeah.
him.
It's
and
very
he just
true.
does it.
And
No social skills.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, you could argue that me and PJ don't have the greatest of social skills, but he's on a whole other level.
Definitely.
He's the guy that has none, but like wants to be in social situations constantly.
Oh, yeah. He
and
thrives
makes his
for it.
presence
But he doesn't
very
know how to
known.
do it.
He
Like
doesn't know how to
Billy
do it.
in the great documentary Billy the Kid, like such an awkward.
Have you ever seen the documentary Billy the Kid?
No.
It's a guy, I think he's dealing with Asperger's or something similar
Yeah.
at least. But he's a kid, it just documents this 16, 17-year-old that obviously has, like, social retardation going on. And so, like, it puts you in all these horrible Curb Your Enthusiasm, like, scenarios, except for not funny. Like, it's just him dealing with his issues and, like, hitting on girls, and it's really bad. But it reminded me a lot of a mixture. I told PJ this at the time. I was texting him when I was watching this through Netflix. And it's a combination of your son, my cousin Tim, and also our sister, Melissa, who's also going through her own mental things.
Right, but I said it's 100% Tim. I don't see Melissa anywhere.
I don't know. I see Melissa.
This
in it,
kid
too.
was like an exact clone of Tim.
He kind of was.
It's like
a fascinating movie
I look at it as like he wants to be the center of the show, but without an act.
without any act,
You know,
without even
and-
an idea of an act.
Yeah, and
if anybody
and,
plays along with him for a minute, he just ruins
He
it.
loses it.
and for you listeners who think what an asshole talking about his son like this, just meet the guy, spend 5 minutes
Yeah,
with
and
him.
he's grown
That's
up.
all it
He doesn't-
takes.
He's
It's
Yeah,
almost worth
26
having
years
him on
old.
the podcast just so people
Oh,
understand. but
definitely.
After 5 minutes, we'd be done.
To put it in perspective, PJ's own wife, Alvina, who has been mentioned on this show
Several times.
several times,
I love you. Alvina.
used to defend.
No, I mean I love you.
Used to defend Tim without ever having met him.
Uh huh.
Your typical woman reaction.
Exactly.
Like let's make
And-
this clear. Like you've pretty much. Correct me if this is too harsh, but you've pretty much disowned your son at this time.
Yeah, definitely, a long time ago.
And so
And Alvina didn't understand it. And then one day she comes to my coffee shop I had years ago,
Right.
and walks into my shop, says, "I need to apologize to you. I have met Tim."
Yeah.
Right. And it only took one time, right?
And she took
Yeah.
back her defense of him. And I said, "Told you."
It only takes
We
one
told
time.
you.
It was brutal. I mean, he just jumped in the car. Of course, I called him because I'm addicted to Tim. And we got in the car. We went to
Let's
the
explain
casino.
that a little bit because I don't think we have before.
Yeah, see, that's weird. That's the weird thing about Tim. Like when we were kids, like he would come over for the barbecues or whatever at our house, but when it was Grandma's house, and like he was being raised by a weird family, and he'd always
Which you
be
had
like,
no involvement with it.
No.
He's like, I'm in karate class. That's not an allers thing to do. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I'll have to
wrestling?
interject on that. I did try Taekwondo for like 3 months.
And is that why he got?
So that may have been why he did
I
it,
don't doubt that it is.
which
That's
was a
true.
big mistake on my
But
part.
see,
But you know, hey.
even like just trying to directly mimic your dad is not. I don't know. Not a very allers thing to do.
Well, that's the thing. He's kind of like his Aunt Terry,
Uh-huh.
my other sister. He has no sense of creativity, so he just copies other people.
He's like that.
and
Chris,
then wants the attention that comes from it.
Have you seen that Kristen Wiig character on Saturday Night Live who's constantly trying to one-up everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of.
I agree.
And so we would make fun of him all the time. He'd do this wrestling move, and we said it looked like a duck, and we'd call him Quack Quack and stuff.
But he
Which
didn't
is
get
pretty
it.
clever for
And
him.
he would,
didn't
and
get
he
it.
would go crying to you every single time. And thank God you did not give a fuck, because I hated being yelled at by my aunts and
probably
uncles.
still, even at 10 years old, recognize me and PJ as the comedic geniuses that we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I ever reprimand you guys? Ever?
No,
For
it was
Tim?
always very awesome. In fact, I remember one time as a joke, you got me to curse in front of Grandma and Grandpa, and I got in a shitload of trouble.
Tell that story. I don't know that story.
I barely remember it.
When
It was a play on words, if I remember right.
No, when we used to live with our cousin Sean, my dad would call him a shithead all the time.
Uh-huh.
And we were out in front of just all the daycare kids. This is when my grandma still ran like a safe and successful daycare, unlike
Before the
when
state got
involved. Before it became Jackie's child care. And you
That's when
said,
it all went downhill.
"Hey PJ, what does your dad call Sean?"
I
go,
remember.
Shithead. I got in trouble.
Of course you did. You know why? And I feel bad for it now, but I forgot how British.
I just remember thinking it was funny at the time.
I forgot how British my mother was. She once slapped my sister Lori for saying, "Gosh darn it," or something like that. Along those lines, slapped her because
That's
it sounds. Because we know you mean "God damn it."
Yeah.
Of course, she never said that. And do you remember?
That's like something Dad would get mad at if he was in a bad mood.
Do you remember the movie Johnny Dangerously?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I did.
She hated us walking around saying the lines from that movie.
Why have you even seen that?
You friggin'
You
ice
farging
hole.
ice hole,
You
yeah.
farging ice hole. Because she
Oh,
was
yeah.
so offended by that. We know what it means. And I can remember thinking, that was when I came up with this theory. Well, this question. Who's the one with the dirty mind? The one that gets
Yeah.
the joke? The one that tells the joke? Or the one that gets the joke?
Right.
You know,
All you're doing is
where's her
repeating a funny
mind?
line.
Right, where's her mind that she's turning all of this into bad stuff? You know, if she's so pure, how come she even knows what farging ice hole means?
Yeah. I gotta say, when you said that you had someone to defend on the show, I really thought it was going to be Grandma, but it doesn't
Nope.
seem to be taking that.
No, not
Before we
grandma.
even get to that, should we say that Tracy sent us an email? We asked him to come out, or asked us to be able to come out here to record once before. And to be fair, we've given you really short notice.
Yes,
And we
you
said,
had.
can
You
we
had.
download a shitload of programs?
Yeah, that's
on
before I
the-
had my laptop, so I was
on
like-
my slow computer.
Can we come over
By
and
slow,
put a
you mean
microphone in
mentally
your
retarded?
face and like take up a bunch of your computer space? So we understand, and we're glad that you're here now. But
that we're here now
that we're here
in
now.
your lovely abode.
I remember we started exchanging through email, which it had been a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point you said, yeah, I would like to come on the show one time. And there is one particular person I wanted to defend.
Yeah, there was one person that I thought you've slighted more than once that I needed to come to the defense of.
Okay?
Because-
And I just want to say we don't know right now.
I thought it was Grandma.
And I thought it was Stacy, which it obviously is.
Well, it's more important than that. It is Mel Brooks.
Oh my God!
Is that right?
It
Good
is
Google.
Mel
Google.
Brooks.
Shut it off. Mel Brooks is a fucking idiot.
You got to put it in the.
And I'm so glad Young Frankenstein got shut down off Broadway.
You got to put it in the
Did it
You
Yeah.
got to put it
Fuck
in the
you, Cloris
context
Leachman.
of my age group.
Right hook.
Okay, to compare. Oh, now I've had this all prepared. Now I can't think of it. To compare, what's the movie you're all? Spaceballs.
Terrible
fucking
movie.
piece of shit.
Fucking piece
Okay.
of shit.
0
Okay.
stars.
That is like comparing. That is like judging
Judge Dredd,
Kevin.
Judge Reinhold?
No,
Beethoven's Third.
that's like judging Jersey Girl. You know, to
Jersey
Clerks.
Girl, I know
to
that piece of
Clerks.
shit movie.
You know, exactly. Clerks was brilliant.
Oh, so you're
Jersey
saying
Girl wasn't.
Spaceballs is bad?
No, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So
Kevin Smith did Clerks.
Yeah.
He did Mallrats.
Right.
He did Dogma. Great fucking
Chasing
movie.
Amy, my favorite
Chasing
of all.
Amy. But then he did Jersey Girl.
which isn't
Okay.
as bad as everybody says.
Okay.
I just want to say.
Mel Brooks
I hate
did
it.
one
Okay.
of the most brilliant movies I've ever seen called
History of the World, Part
Silent
One.
Movie.
Silent movie.
Silent
Never seen
Movie
it.
was brilliant. And if you're
Can we guess? Blazing Saddles.
no, Blazing
Silent
Saddles,
Movie.
no,
Silent
no.
Movie, sorry.
I'm talking his earlier stuff.
Yeah, he already said
He
it.
he did a movie called The 12 Chairs based on a Russian short story.
That's Terry Gilliam with Brad Pitt.
No,
12 Monkeys.
That's 12
My bad,
Monkeys.
My bad.
12. But he did
But
silent.
Brad Pitt's in both.
He did
He's
silent
lazy
movie
eye.
where he did the whole movie in color in silence, and the only word spoken in the whole movie
I know
was
the
by
end.
Marcel
Marceau.
the Mime.
Yes.
But
it-
my point being is for
But
the
isn't that a 90-minute build-up
No.
to a one-joke payoff?
no the whole movie was funny though, especially the
Okay,
soda
I
soda
can't
machine
speak
scene.
as if I've seen it.
Okay. The thing is, Mel Brooks for his time was to us what Kevin Smith is to this generation.
Was.
What
Was.
exactly?
Yeah, Kevin Smith's
Right,
already
exactly. But
lost
my
it.
point being is you can't judge him on Spaceballs, just like you can't judge
Okay,
Kevin Smith
well,
on
Judge
Jersey
him
Girl.
on more than Spaceballs.
I'm glad
but-
that you don't like Spaceballs because, in fairness, I've seen Spaceballs, and that made me hate Mel Brooks. And then
Men in
I
Tights
saw Men
and-
in Tights.
No.
That's it. That's your.
That made me hate
but-
Mel Brooks and Richard Lewis.
Well, I can see that. But no, my point is, the early stuff was good, but
I can't believe
Spaceballs
that's
sucks.
what I've been fretting this whole time. That's who you need to defend.
And that's
fucking
and
Brooks.
that's why I haven't told you anything, because that's what I wanted you to be surprised
I was
with.
so worried. I was like, what family member could we have? Oh, God.
I never said family member. I said person.
I know you did, but I assumed family member. That is brilliant. That is fucking brilliant.
But speaking of family, guess what I want to talk about?
Let's take a gander.
Spaceballs.
You're talking about Spaceballs, the animated series, correct?
Yeah, the one that was just a total carbon copy of the whole movie.
Is that what it was? I never bothered.
That's what the review said. That's why I didn't watch it,
Why didn't Rick Moranis and Bill Pullman do voices for that cartoon?
because they were smart.
I don't think he was smart enough not to do a voice
smart
for
enough
the.
to not accept jobs.
Isn't Bob and Doug McKenzie also a cartoon now?
I don't know.
I
Is
don't
it
I
think
really?
so.
it is.
But it was
Pretty sure.
that was great characters though. I used to have the record album LP.
Is that
big
funny?
vinyl
Does that
black.
hold up?
I know people who would disagree.
It's still funny.
I've listened to it recently, and it's a little. What you're doing is dated, Tracy.
Yeah, I know, but so am I.
Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey, don't forget. Someday Sophie's gonna go. You're talking about Urkel again? Come on.
Sophie being PJ's daughter. Yeah, I would love when.
Hey
Sophie...
guys, I'm hungry. Where's the beef?
Good one. Yeah, Sophie is going to need to take encyclopedia to most of this show when she's old enough to register what's being said.
Yeah, no, she will have a very good knowledge of everything that I have a good knowledge of.
Because you'd be like, hey, listen to our show.
Yeah, and
Help me edit.
watch all these DVDs that I'm going to buy for your education.
Starting with Goodfellas.
I used to tell my ex-wife that porn was just educational filmmaking, but she wouldn't
Why
buy
not?
into it. That's what we were married.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I remember one time her and I were in a porn shop, and she was all embarrassed because people might see her. The other customers would see what we were looking at. I said, "What? It's not like this is a hamburger section, fucking Fred Meyer. It's not. This ain't a grocery store. It's a porn store. Everyone's here for the same
Everybody's
reason."
there for the
I gotta
same
say,
reason.
one time I went into the porn store in Yakima, and
Oh, Elmo's? What is it?
no, that's in Lakewood, Washington. This is in
My bad.
Yakima. And I saw a guy that I worked with walk in, like an older guy, and I didn't know what to do. I went back into the jerk-off booth and just waited forever.
Is that all you did in the jerk-off booth?
But I'd already done that, and it was on my exit. It was on my exit, and I saw he was there browsing. So I go back in the
But my
jerk-off
question
booth.
is, you
I'm
were in the
feeding-
jerk-off booth doing what you were supposed to do?
No, at first, yes.
Oh, man, that's weird. I've
never
never
done that?
jerked off in public, no.
And that's
Outside,
the video.
maybe,
but
Yeah, absolutely. I'll look at the people that come in.
Well, look at my backyard. It's secluded.
I was in Seattle with our cousin Daniel and Chico, and
God.
borrowed your ID to go into the Champ Arcade. It's now Showgirls on.
By
First.
borrow my ID, you mean it
No,
disappears from my wallet for
That
3 days
that
at a
time
time.
you agreed to it. You were too much of a Jehovah's Witness to come inside, but
That's so
that
funny
allowed
to
me
hear.
to go in.
I know.
And that was a jerk off booth with a live lady on the other end of the glass.
Well, that's what they
And
should
all
do.
she would do-
put up her pussy like right up against
All
the
she
glass.
would do was manipulate her vagina, her pierced vagina, and she had a great rack that she never showed. And
And you're a boob man.
she says to me through the glass, "Do you know how this works?" And I was like, "Well, I put money
bad
in."
start.
And she's like, "Well, you're supposed to tip me too."
Oh
And
God.
I did, and she showed me her fish stink, and then I jerked off and left.
Well, see, they should do that at the JW Talent Show. They might get more converts.
Oh man, how great would it be if we could convince Barry to go up to that JW talent show and
Tell
get him
that story.
to read from the vagina monologue?
Oh God! Even the cleanest excerpt of that would be too offensive for everybody in the
and they'd
audience.
have to call it the JJ monologues.
Because then you had your
I don't
Oprah
know,
connection. And
monologue
that's good.
might be too dirty for him too, because it's mono, it's one.
That's true.
Can't
Yeah.
do anything by yourself.
No, that's true. We
You
need
know,
God.
got to have a chaperone.
Go! Play Brotherhood! Play Brotherhood! Nick are out of control. They would crash the airwaves with a microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. So the ladies now to go!
Stay tuned next week for the conclusion of our 2-part Bitch Fest. And vote for us on Podcast Alley. Please.
Play Brotherhood!
Allah Akbar.